Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown. The Wild Meta continues to adjust to the ascension of Secret Mage as the deck to beat. Quest Mage and Big Priest have been forced out of the meta almost completely due to their poor Mage matchup, with the recent nerf to Barnes driving Big Priest down even further. In their place, we're seeing a resurgence of decks such as combo-oriented Warlock decks, while the odd and even-based aggro decks and Reno-based control decks continue to hold their own. Before we go over these latest developments, don't forget to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel to stay up to date with our Hearthstone content. Now let's get started. In the post-nerf Saviors of Uldum meta, Secret Mage has firmly established itself as the top of Tier 1, thanks largely to the additions of Arcane Flak Mage, Cloud Prince, and Flame Ward from Saviors. Its staggering popularity has single-handedly forced out decks like Big Priest and Quest Mage, and the remainder of the top tiers are defined by decks that can either deal with Secret Mage, or are well positioned against decks that can deal with Secret Mage. In recent weeks, Secret Mage is coming to terms with its own popularity at high ranks, and is now starting to tech more heavily against its most common matchup, itself. Since Arcane Flak Mage is usually strong enough to keep aggro at bay on its own, our featured list cuts a copy of Flame Ward and brings Ice Block back into the mix to improve its matchup in the mirror. Joining Secret Mage in Tier 1 is Odd Rogue, which is perhaps the best non-mage aggro deck post-Saviors. Thanks to its ability to use its upgraded hero power to keep Arcane Flak Mage off the board, Odd Rogue has a better Secret Mage matchup than most other aggro decks. The Pirate Package and Tempo Removal minions continue to be strong against most other meta decks, with only the Reno-based control decks holding it back. With its straightforward aggression style and so many good or even matchups across the board, Odd Rogue is an excellent pick to take advantage of a mage-heavy meta. Also maintaining its spot in Tier 1 is Even Shaman. Although its Secret Mage and Reno matchups aren't stellar, Even Shaman finds itself in a position to dominate virtually everything else. With many decks attempting to tech against Secret Mage with cards like Eater of Secrets, Even Shaman is exploiting this trend by simply beating these decks down, holding the board with swarms of massive threats and efficient removal. A recent development with Even Shaman is the addition of ways to generate value, such as Ancestral Knowledge and more late-game threats like Ragnaros, the Fire Lord, giving the Shaman better matchups against late-game control decks. Next up in Tier 1 is Mech OTK Warlock. This deck is firmly establishing itself as the strongest combo deck of the format with multiple high legend finishes. Revolving around the combination of Snip Snap, Summoning Portal, and Mech Warper, the deck seeks to buff an onboard mech with dozens of Snip Snaps in order to deliver an immediate lethal blow, or build a massive board of buffed Mech Warpers to set up lethal on the next turn. Like Even Shaman, Mech OTK Warlock exploits the meta's trends to tech against Secret Mage, but in this case it's by taking advantage of the meta's current lack of combo disruption and unconditional sweepers. As long as the meta remains favorable, Snip Snap OTK is sure to see a lot of high-level play in the hands of savvy players. Our Tier 2 picks for this snapshot include a variety of decks that are solid picks for climbing, even if they are not as dominant as the Tier 1 decks. While we have 7 decks in Tier 2, in this video we're featuring the top 3 decks in terms of positive matchup spreads. Maintaining its position at the top of Tier 2, we have Reno Lock, which may be the premier control deck of the post-Saviors meta. With Zephrys the Great in the mix with Reno Jackson and Kazakus, the payoff for building a Highlander-style deck has never been better. With access to premium removal, powerful health restoration, and combo disruption, Reno Lock has the tools to deal with just about anything and has life tap to pull it all together. Even with so many good matchups, Reno Lock is a relatively difficult deck to play since its game plan can vary widely from matchup to matchup and can require an experienced pilot to reach its true potential. Joining Reno Lock in Tier 2, we have Reno Mage, another beneficiary of Zephrys the Great's addition to Hearthstone. Reno Mage may not have life tap, but Mage's toolkit includes cards like Reno the Relicologist, Ice Block, and Arcane Keysmith that its Warlock counterpart won't have access to. Reno Mage is another example of a deck that does well in this meta despite not specifically targeting Secret Mage, as it in general has more dominant matchups against aggro than Reno Lock, but with a weaker late game. To overcome this, some Reno Mage lists, such as our featured deck list, are including Luna's Pocket Galaxy in big minion builds to cheat them into play despite Pocket Galaxy's recent nerf. This style of Reno Mage has a lot of power, but can be difficult to pilot, especially if you don't find Luna's Pocket Galaxy in time. Rounding out Tier 2, Jade Druid is returning to relevance as a potential counter to Secret Mage. Jade traditionally works well as an anti-aggro deck with solid removal, taunt walls, and armor gain backed by late-game inevitability via Jade Idol. Poison Seeds is an MVP card that gives Druid outs against massive boards, including the Snip Snap OTK combo. While Secret Mage and Snip Snap Warlock are favorables, the popularity of Reno decks keeps Jades at bay, basically off of the back of Skulking Geist alone. Even with the looming threat of Geist, Jade Druid can be a solid pick if your local meta is trending towards Secret Mage and other aggro decks. Our final deck we want to showcase in this breakdown is a new spin on an old favorite. Q-Block has received a major facelift and is seeing a resurgence of play at high levels on ladder. Q-Block still uses Voidcaller and Skull of the Minari to cheat big demons like Boomguard and Voidlord into play, then uses Carnivorous Cube to duplicate them. Cube hasn't seen much traction since the nerf of Dark Pact, but Plague of Flames and Evil Genius have replaced it as the Warlock's sacrifice outlets of choice. Nerubian Egg and Serpent Egg also fuel the sacrifice engine, giving the Q-Block access to cheap mass removal that generates tempo by putting bodies in play. With so many new early game options, the deck is capable of going toe-to-toe with Secret Mage, while the traditional Cube package gives the Warlock relentless pressure against the Reno decks. We're keeping a close eye on this deck as it develops, but for now it's an excellent time to give Q-Block a try. The post-Saviors of Uldum wild meta is continuing to evolve. Although Secret Mage has established dominance as the most popular deck, many decks have adjusted and continue to maintain good matchups across the board after the dust has settled. In a few cases, new or returning decks are beginning to thrive in a world without Big Priest. Wild is a dynamic format, and it still remains to be seen if Secret Mage will establish a true stranglehold or if the meta will continue to adjust. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to keep an eye on Wild developments, and let us know in the comments where you think the Wild meta will end up next. Thanks for watching!